Hey everybody and welcome, and today we'll be doing RetroActive's Corner once again.
Hey everybody and
oh
welcome.
Fucking damn it, hang on.
Today we'll be
That is really weird, folks. I really don't know why. For some reason, it said it was muted, but for some reason it showed audio. It was weird. Maybe it's because I switched to my other screen. Maybe that might have accidentally tripped it up. Because that happened last time when I was doing it on YouTube. It did the same thing. It was weird. That is weird. I don't think I've ever had that happen before. Twice in a row. So, at least now I know to set them on mute before doing all this. Because, good lord, that'd be a real pain in the ass to deal with. Anyway, joining us is, of course, Phoenix Fire.
Howdy, howdy.
We got Ride Guy here, of course.
Hello.
We got Master Chief 2011 over here.
Good day,
and, of course, myself.
gentlemen.
Alright. Now, of course, I know a lot of you guys were hoping to hear about this. And yes, for this month, for the final week of Star Wars, the final Saturday for Star Wars month, we're talking about possibly one of the greatest sci-fi trilogies of all time. 4, 5, and 6. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. The trilogy that, in my personal opinion, started the huge sci-fi boom that would never go down even to this day. So, actually, before we get started, of course, what was your guys' first experience with this film? Like, when did you first see these films?
I remember during an anniversary screening in the mid-90s, my parents took me to each showing.
Damn. I'm surprised you never did that for me.
Well, because I showed you, you gotta remember, out of everybody here, I was actually, like, alive, and when it first came out live.
Actually, yeah. How was it when the movie first originally came out?
Oh. Okay, I was 9.
Yeah, because
And
it
I
came
will
out in
tell-
1977.
and born in 68, of course. I will tell you, holy crap. I mean, some of the things that they were using to go up there and get the sounds and stuff. Did you know the little guide wires that hold the poles up and stuff like that? They were able to hit that to get certain tones to get the phaser fire out. So you hear the doo, 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 doo. That's how they got that. But let me tell you, it was so awe-inspiring because we never really seen a movie like that before. There was like Space 1999. There was all these other types of movies, but
Oh, don't worry. We'll talk about that. But I'm talking about like your experience at the
my
theater.
Lord.
Like,
Oh yeah, it was like we waited. It took us almost 5 hours to get into the movies, and this is even a small town in Chelan, but we only had one theater there, the Ruby Theater. And so, if you guys ever were there, and I mean, we were back to where the post office was, so that means we actually sat. Let's see, was it 2.5? No, I'm sorry, it was 2.5 hours because we actually had to sit through one showing.
that is absolutely insane. What in the actual hell?
I'm telling you, it was one of the most awesome things that you could ever have. I mean, it's so different nowadays just because you can, everything gets set up with social media, but there was no social media. So you got to see this
Good
thing,
Lord.
and if you were one of the few people that got to see it the day that it came out, oh boy, you had legendary status stamped on your forehead.
Jeez, I can't believe the line was that long
Oh my
though.
God. Oh,
I've been to Chelan so many times, so I know exactly how far it was from where the Ruby Theater was. And Jesus, that is a one long line.
It was awesome, though. You guys, I'm
I've
telling
only
you.
been to Chelan once, and good God, that lake is gorgeous.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it is. That's
But
my
do you know where
hometown.
the Ruby Theater is though, and the post office, and you see that distance? I don't know if I'd last that long. Actually, no, I would. Oh man. What about you, Phoenix Fire? What was your first experience with the original trilogy?
Right, before I answer that, but no, never been to these theaters you guys are talking about, so you can go for my behalf since I'm here up north.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was 95, 96? Like, somewhere in the 90s when they did, was it the re-release for the anniversary?
Oh.
It was like, it was just when they switched over to IMAX for the first time.
Okay.
The re-release around in the, let's say, sometime in the 90s. I remember it was like, what, the first 10 minutes? I mean, I was a kid, 4 or 5, and it's like, the first time I seen Vader, it's like, Dad, can we leave? That guy scares the shit out of me. He's gonna hurt me. I was terrified of Vader. I was one of those kids that, when I was younger, it was like, Vader just scared me. I couldn't handle it.
I actually remember one of my friends, me, Jeffrey, and a few of his friends. We actually watched the Star Wars films. One of my buddies got up and ran out of the house, and we were like, "Dude, he's not real." He's like, "Dude, he's gonna force choke me."
It was probably this when he goes, "Luke, I am your father."
No, it was episode 4. It was, you know, when he was doing the force choke.
Yes.
Basically, he was like, "Oh, I gotta run." He's like, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." I'm like,
Oh yeah, that's one.
I felt really bad for him, though, because he did have a bit of a fear of Darth Vader for quite a while until he turned 18, and he really appreciated Vader after that for being that intimidating and still being able to be a good character.
Yeah, sounds like me. Scared at first, but then just grew to love the man.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I guess you could say robot. No, not robot.
Technically, he is still human,
Cyborg.
just mostly burnt flesh.
Because he had the high ground.
And man.
Obi-Wan.
Please stop.
That's what I'm saying. He's more machine than man, so.
Twisted and evil.
Even though he
I'll
was
say
completely wrong on that. Alright,
I'll say a big hunk of metal.
okay. Wait, where'd my pen go? I think it's... freaking damn it. I just have my pen here. Oh, wait, it's right here. God bless what's wrong with me. Alright, so what do you guys think your score is going to be for Star Wars Episode 4? I already know mine, but what about you guys?
50.
Perfect.
50.
50?
Yeah, perfect.
50? Alright, what about you, Phoenix Fire?
Perfect. Complete 50.
Would it really hurt me if I said that I was going to give it a 49?
I'm going to beat you. You know what? The
we
force
all
choke
have to
is
beat a
just happening. Right over here.
Hey,
Vader just came in here and just took out the host. Sons of bitches.
We need to get one thing out of the way before we continue.
Yes.
Han shot first.
No, the original.
Burrito.
Come on, he was a smuggler. Guido did not shoot first. What a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
You know, you try to...
Here's the thing.
No.
I saw the original film. Han shot first. Guido missed his shot after he got hit.
Well, of course, because let's just face it, you were looking at frickin' Han Solo and Chewie. At some point you're going to die a horrific death. But
yeah, I'm saying 50 though. But still, I was just.
No, you were going to get force choked today.
How about
Just saying.
force kicked in the ass?
I already have abdomen problems right now. I don't need anything more like a spinal problem with my butt. All right, so.
Okay, fine. I'll just use my Build-A-Bear to smack you around. I'll get my Vader out. He's supposed to
You
be
know
right now,
what? You know
actually.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Phoenix Fire sing a ditty if you keep this up.
Son of a bitch.
Yes, there you go.
All right.
And I'll be so I'll make it sound so shrill and I'll screech it like.
Oh,
I'll
see, you already know you're in trouble now.
All right.
I'll make it really bad.
All right. Fuck me. Okay, let's just get started, people. Okay, first, we gotta take a look at. Oh, of course, for those of you guys who don't know, here's how it works. We have 5 categories. Each one gets 10 points. But we always guess what our score is going to be before we start the review. And then, of course, we add up all of our totals to get what our true amount will be.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind...
Can I say one thing before we start?
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we all agree we should do this now. I know it's really jumping ahead, but we should just say right now for music, every single one is going to be a 10. We don't have to really bring that up.
That's
We
true.
really have to
Okay,
focus on
I'll make
music
sure to
at all.
put down 10s for all the musics for all the films, okay?
Yeah.
That's one thing we can all agree on right now.
Yeah.
And we don't
So
have
we
to-
don't, so we could just basically skip music altogether, since this basically was the start of John Williams' major upheaval in his
Exactly.
music career.
This was it. Oh yes.
And
I
of
will
course,
absolutely agree.
he would be basically making godlike quality for all of his films afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Let me do one bit of housekeeping. I want to go up there, introduce everybody that's on our chats right now. So we got, of course, me as the moderator for Twitch here, but also got OX2, Alien Gathering, another TV viewer, Billy Peddle, La Kaylee, the Ant 2020, Sheminka, and So Clubberville. Thank you guys for joining right over there. Everything else looks to be good to go. That's the only time you ever get names is actually on Twitch. The other two, Facebook and YouTube, doesn't give you who's actually on.
True.
Didn't know that.
And you guys are always welcome to ask us questions during the stream so we can answer them afterwards.
Which is always fun.
Alright. First story. Okay. For as much as I do think that, yes, the story is amazing, it's absolutely fantastic, but it is based off a major trope at the time. The Chosen One trope.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why that's different, folks. Because where all the others, it's what you expect. It's where it's basically like you send the fantasy saying, here's the Chosen One angle, there you go. That's all you do. Oh my god, I see the Darth Vader plush toy he has.
Oh.
I told you my Darth Vader Build-A-Bear's beside me. I
Remember that plush
to
toy
the
is going to
occasion.
force choke you, so
Yeah.
better be careful.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason why that this one's different is because of the lore behind it. The reason why Star Wars has done so well over the course of many years is because of the lore. The lore itself is, well, the Force itself, how it works, how it's left a mystery. You don't really know what it truly is. Where, yes, I can see where in the prequel trilogy they called it midichlorians because he actually wanted to base it on mitochondrians, which is an actual scientific thing. So, I can see where he was going off with that. But I almost kind of like the whole... I also like how Grand Moff Tarkin says, there is no more of your religion. And I almost think that, yeah, it is sort of religion for the Jedi and the Sith in a way. Also, yeah, I actually had heard this from one of my viewers a while back. About a certain thing. Technically, with Anakin didn't technically leave the Council, so that means he's technically the Grand Master of the Jedi.
Mm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, well, damn it. Well, that sucks.
Well, you know,
Because technically, Obi-Wan and Yoda went into self-imposed exile. He didn't. He was still a Jedi
well, I
on the
just-
Council,
well,
technically.
Technically, yes.
So, technically, he is a Grand Master of the Jedi Order, which
Yeah.
honestly is just absolutely insane to think about.
Well, I will tell you, I think another reason why that it works so well is that, you know, you go back to like, if you take a look at your imagination more than not, they really concentrated on the characters. That's the reason why that we're so invested into the characters themselves, because It was basically like a cameo shot during, throughout the whole film. And then you had this really excellent special effects come in. And this special effects actually kind of really brought out that imaginational thought of it made it more than really what it was, you know what I'm saying? So I really do believe that the way George Lucas set this up, because number one is that he really wanted to show everybody what was in his head, how the galaxy was supposed to look, but he did not have the technology at the time to be able to do that.
Did you also know that this happened? This was supposed to be a Flash Gordon movie?
Well,
Flash Gordon?
Really?
yes.
Yes. The original concept for Star Wars was originally supposed to be a Flash Gordon or Flash Jordan, I forgot.
A Flash Gordon.
Gordon, yeah. Flash Gordon movie.
Okay.
Basically, yeah, but it was basically a Flash Gordon movie, but because they were trying, however, due to some constraints, I believe, George Lucas decided, I'm going to make something out of this, and...
Well, if you take a look even at Flash Gordon, now this was clear back, when you take a look at what they did the same thing. They really kind of kept you alive with certain special effects stuff, but then again, it was all about the characters. It was just about what they were going through at that particular moment.
And the lore itself was amazing, especially with the whole Force thing.
Yes.
And of course, as you all know, it starts out with the theme, but unlike in other films, which I know a lot of people have said in the past, unlike in other films, this one starts out differently. Instead of what you usually get, you get to see the grass, greenery, or whatever. You're basically seeing, you're being introduced into a peaceful world and all that for chosen one angles. Oh no! It starts you with a fight. You see an Imperial Star Destroyer following the Tantive 4 on its way to try to get the information, or in this case, try to find Obi-Wan, in this case. And that's just insane to say the least. To literally have all that happen at the start of the movie is already getting you enticed into wondering what's going on. Then, of course, you get the introduction of Vader, which, God bless it, they couldn't have introduced him any better in that one. Not to mention, the Imperial Stormtroopers weren't poor at their aim.
Well, you also have to understand, too, yeah, the one thing that made it really good, too, if you really saw what was going on, is that the first character that you really see is Vader. So he... Really,
actually, no. First one is C-3PO and R2-D2.
No, but what I mean is you're talking...
For villains, you're introduced to Vader immediately at the start.
Immediately at the start. So that already tells you that this person right here is... A lot of everything is going to be based off of Vader, when you really think about it.
I remember there was an old saying that if you do not get invested in the first 30 seconds of the film, then the rest of the film is going to be crap. And this one not only manages to get you intrigued, it gets you hooked.
Well,
as soon as the movie starts.
The hype, I'll tell you the truth, back in 77, the hype was so unreal that if you did not go see this movie, it was because you were probably on the moon, and stuff like that. Everybody knew this film was going to come out, and it was going to be special. And I will tell you, it was. It really, really was. So are we going to get on?
Oh, yeah. What about you guys? What are your thoughts on the story of Star Wars?
It's just amazing.
What was if you could pick out one thing from...
one part of the story you love the most.
What was the one part of the story in A New Hope that you liked the most?
Well, I think it would have to be when Obi-Wan decided to sacrifice himself to give Luke and everyone else a chance to run.
Yeah, I have to tell you the gasp in the theater when that happened, because no one, you don't take out your best guy, you know what I mean? It was kind of like when Bambi lost his mother, in a sense, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it was. Here was this father figure that we were all expecting to see in all three films in a way, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
But then all of a sudden, you then hear his voice telling Luke, "Run,
Luke.
Luke, run."
Yes, because he was a poltergeist. You know, see, even ghost hunting was big back then.
Actually, could be funny considering Ghostbusters would come out later.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Phoenix Fire? If you were to pick a moment in the story for Star Wars Episode 4, what would you say is your favorite moment? Huh?
Call me cheesy or whatnot. I'll throw it out. Leia's iconic message of hope, asking for Obi-Wan.
Yes.
I can say that, yes.
That's a good one.
That was a good one right there.
What about you?
One of Carrie Fisher's most defining moments.
Oh yeah.
It's like we already knew Leia was tough as nails, and
Oh yeah.
Oh
She-
yes.
she-
Oh yes.
she- she wasn't just
I have to say that was mine. Was going up there, Luke, take Reds 2 and 3 and wait for my signal. Go to point 5, we'll cover for you. Just lost my starboard engine. It's time for you to make your attack run.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? And as he goes down. Or like the one was Red 3 was
Biggs.
Biggs. Went up there, Porkins. Remember that part?
Oh yeah.
No, I got it! No! Okay.
yeah.
Let me see. There's actually 3 that come to mind for me. One is the introduction of Vader.
Oh no, that's
That one will be one of my favorite villain entrances I've ever seen. Or villain introductions in this case. The second one is, of course, the Death Star run. The battle itself.
Oh yeah.
But third is the scene where Luke is looking at the distance with his theme.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why.
I believe the Tatooine was Tunisia, wasn't it?
I believe it was. Hold on, I'll double check to make sure, but I believe it was though.
You know that there's so many iconic parts of the story. You know what I mean? If it's really kind of hard to break down, maybe what's your favorite point. But the one thing I liked about the New Hope, there wasn't really in that whole story.
Yeah, Tunisia.
That the whole story.
Along with Death Valley National Park.
What I was saying is about the story in itself, there was not one part of the story in that I could even, everything worked so well. You know what I mean? I thought the fight scenes were good. But the one thing I was a little, not say disappointed, but you remember the fight when they were in the Millennium Falcon and they took out the TIE fighter and you got that really nice explosion. But when but when you watch the Death Star and the explosion was very, very
limited.
Oh yes, very limited. They made up for it. They did, but it wasn't like when that TIE fighter exploded.
True. All right. So if anything, I'm gonna give my score a 10. What about you guys?
10. It was the most brilliant. It was just a brilliant story.
And who would have thought that it started off as a Flash Gordon movie and then became possibly one of the greatest sci-fi franchises of all time?
Oh yeah.
And if you think of it too, at least they didn't try to rip off things like Doctor Who at the time, which started a bit of a sci-fi boom back in the 60s.
Yes,
that's true.
Look at that conventional storytelling when they started that back in the 60s.
But it would have been kind of hard though.
They did.
It would have been kind of hard with Doctor Who just because of the fact that the way they introduced Doctor Who into the stratosphere when it comes to sci-fi, where Flash Gordon was a part of it. When we get into episode 5, I'll describe a couple of places from Flash Gordon. But I think what really made it good was the fact that you had battles, actual battles. You know what I mean? Ship to ship. Those types of things.
It says right here that the location where you see Yavin 4 is in Guatemala.
Yes, and there was one that they did one in
United Kingdom. It was the RAF Carrington, Bedfordshire Air Force Base.
Yep.
Which honestly is pretty cool, honestly, if you think about it. But yeah, the Tatooine Desert we see the droids walking through, that's Death Valley National Park.
Oh, yes.
which I actually passed by there a couple of times, I believe.
Yep.
But yeah, Tunisia mainly was the location for Tatooine itself. And I believe those structures and everything are still there.
Well, they should.
Ooh.
So if you guys ever get a chance, definitely check it out.
Okay.
All right, so next is...
You can't take those down.
No, you can't. No.
Those are basically national landmarks at this point.
Oh, heck yes.
I bet Tunisia is having a fun time of it, knowing that their country became basically the inspiration for one of the most recognizable planets in the Star Wars universe.
How you doing, cool guy?
How you doing, cool guy? Good to see you. All right. Next, of course, is characters. Oh, Lord. Do we really need to... I'll even name off all the characters by heart. Grand Moff Tarkin, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, Darth Vader. Good Lord. There's... heck, Captain Antilles, even though he only stayed around for the first part and then died by Force choke.
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, the characters, I think that was the whole three of the, and all 3, 4, 5, and 6 was based off the characters, with the special effects being the kind of the background in a sense, but the special effects was not the main focal point of each story. Each story was based 100% off the characters, so you really had to have great actors at the time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when it comes down to it, well, what's there to explain? These are some of the most recognizable characters in media. These people have honestly become so ingrained in pop culture that no one could ever deny it. And all of them have had amazing careers afterwards. Like, look at Carrie Fisher. She's done a lot of great acting moments in movies, as well as, of course, in TV shows. And yes, I know a lot of you guys are going to say Family Guy, because she actually was on that show for a while.
Oh, yeah, Peter's boss.
Yeah, she was Peter's boss. She was also in Scream 3, if you see that cameo. There's also, let's look at Harrison Ford. He did, of course, Indiana Jones, Blade Runner.
The Fugitive.
Yep, The Fugitive.
There was so many great movies, but when you really start taking...
And then, of course, look at Mark Hamill. The dude, the legend. You guys know him as one of the greatest DC villains of all time, the Joker. He defined the Joker role that all others tried to surpass, yet failed to.
I can't think of the character, but he also played a dick in Jay and Silent Bob, too.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
he was also on the SWAT Cats.
Yes, he was.
So,
yeah.
So the main thing to remember is when you're talking about characters, you know, we were also discussing this in 7, 8, 9, and 1, 2, and 3, is that, you know, I'm not trying to say that they didn't have really great actors and stuff like that, but if you take a look, it was the characters supported the special effects. This one here, the special effects supported the characters. So your characters had to be really exceptional at what they were doing and stuff like that. So, and that's all I'm trying to say is that they really worked on character development, making sure that everybody can work together, that everything seemed just the way it needed to be. And that's all I can say right over here, that George Lucas did a fantastic job.
And then, of course, we got to talk about James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader. Well, we can't forget one of his... Well, we can't even forget one of his famous roles as Mufasa from The Lion King.
Oh, God, that...
Okay. He also played the father Coming to America.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, yeah.
He did.
Yep.
And honestly...
James Earl Jones was also in, what was it?
Actually,
The Hunt for Red October.
Yep.
As the Admiral.
Actually, you know Sleepaway Camp, the horror film? His father was in that. Just a little segue there. His father was an amazing actor too, so for him to follow in his father's footsteps is pretty cool too.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, honestly though, what would you guys, what about you, Phoenix Fire? If you were to name all the characters in this film, who is your favorite?
Leia.
Leia? Alright.
If you think of it, look, she most sci-fi movies or most movies like that at the time, they always portrayed the female as a helpless heroine. Like
Yeah.
she needed rescue, but Carrie Fisher, Leia, she brought something new to the role. Like, I'm not helpless. I don't need any man to help
Hell,
me.
she rescues them more times than not.
I know how to kick ass.
Except when they go into the garbage chute.
Okay, yeah, that was unfortunately...
Just
Well,
saying.
here's the thing, though. They did get him out of a gunfight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to mention...
Right when the walls are closing in. Yes.
No, the walls actually didn't close until after that whole...
I'm
whatever
just
that
saying,
thing...
just saying.
No, I'm just saying...
Walls coming
I'm
in.
just saying until whatever that thing was that
know,
grabbed
but-
Luke. I don't even know what the hell the thing's called again.
The
So-
Dianaga.
Thank you. Because, good lord, that was one creepy creature. I didn't even know why the hell it was even in there.
Well, it was great. It had the eye.
Yeah, if you read the expanded universe, there's a reason why it was there.
Oh.
There's an expanded universe book of why it ended up on the Death Star.
That definitely makes sense, yeah. Okay. So...
Carrie
Well-
Fisher even said it in interviews, too. It's like, Leia's not a victim. The only time you ever see Leia a victim is when Alderaan is destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
That is very true, yeah. But that's only because of an actual circumstance that happened.
Yes.
But still, she had the grace and poise to try to shrug it off and keep that brave bravado she has.
True. Alright, right guy, what about you? Who is your favorite character among the characters in Star Wars Episode 4?
I think I would have to say Leia as well.
Leia as well? Nice.
Yeah.
What about you?
Me? Sir Alec Guinness.
Ah, Obi-Wan.
Okay,
Obi-Wan.
yeah, Sir
It
Alec
ju-
Guinness is phenomenal.
He is, and what really made it work was the fact that he knew exactly the part right over there is when they meet, and there wasn't a lot of words spoken when they first came together. You know what I'm trying to say? But
Yeah.
man, you could just tell that he knew more on what was going on with Vader than no one else knew. You know what I mean? At the time. And when you're 9, you don't really recognize that until you start getting older, where you can actually see it in his face. You're like, whoa, there is something there that's saying it's more than just what.
Personally,
there's
I would have
something more
loved to have met him, and he actually passed away in 2000.
Yeah, he was,
So I could have met him if I actually tried back
But-
then.
but
because-
he-
You know what I find
he
funny
would
about
be the
Alec
guy.
Guinness?
and he died on
But-
August 5th, 2000.
Yeah.
Shit, only a day
The
before I was
Alec
before
Guinness
my birthday.
is
Damn it.
somewhat like Betsy Palmer from Friday the 13th.
Yep.
They both thought their movies were crap and weren't going to do well, and look what happened.
Yep.
As soon as the movies turned out to be good,
And not to mention, it turned him into a household name.
I mean, but that was one.
And I
of
mean,
the-
like, a bigger household name than he already was.
I think
Right.
that's what really made. I think for me, what he was the older guy that was not just showing Luke, but showing Leia, showing
Showing
everybody
everybody.
there. Just how he is. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I don't think he showed Leia anything because he didn't meet Leia. He died before that happened. But what I mean is for everybody.
Oh no,
there-
she's well. If you go for the new Obi-Wan series, he does show her when she was only 10.
Yeah, but what I mean is
Oh
in that film.
shit! I wasn't supposed to spoil anything. Sorry, guys. I only just totally drew one scene. Luckily, just one part of the scene. That's it.
But all I'm trying to say is that he never got a chance to go up there
In the
and say-
film,
In
no.
the film, but if you take a look at what he was doing with all of the other characters, he was really instilling a lot of that wisdom and all that stuff in that short amount of time. But it made dramatic impacts throughout the film series.
Okay.
That's a 10.
No, I was just about to say my character.
No, I'm just saying 10.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is really tough. But if I were to pick my favorite hero among the group, it would be, well, Sir Alec Guinness,
yeah, he's.
Obi-Wan. But for favorite villain, Vader. Easy. Hands down.
Yeah.
For as much
How about this? What out of all of them there, we didn't get a defined.
I gotta go
one,
Vader.
But what is your number one character?
Vader.
There you go. Then talk about it.
God bless it. First of all, the armor design is impressive enough as is.
Oh yeah.
they made him look so damn intimidating. Even when I first saw him, I was like, "Oh crap, I'm in trouble." Then of course the voice. The
Yes.
voice itself, Jesus, it's like, good lord, you couldn't make anybody sound more intimidating with that voice. Though, I noticed later when I'm talking to women who love Star Wars, they say his voice is sexy. So I'm
Well-
like, it's James Earl Jones, for God's sake!
Yeah, well, that's true.
It's
very
him!
True.
Dude, the dude has... he has the voice of a low-pitched angel.
James Earl Jones is sexy.
I'm telling you right there, James Earl Jones can even make the phone book sound good.
Exactly. Exactly what I mean. So I'm like, I don't blame them. He has an amazing
His
voice.
voice changes a bit.
Well, you could definitely tell that his voice aged. You know what I mean? When he went in there and he was doing all the movies and stuff like that, you can definitely tell that the voice aged. But I think that was very good that it did, age. And stuff like that too.
Because, again, he
His
was
voice
growing
is like,
older.
His voice is like fine wine.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Exactly.
It is. Yes.
Some people have a voice that just goes well, like turns into fine wine. Others spoil milk.
Yes. Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
But yeah, honestly, there's that. And of course, it was the first time you ever really got to see him really show off the Force. He was the first character to really show it.
But but they did it very, very well. Like with the choking scene, when and all these other different things. When you really start taking a look, he did not showcase huge amounts of it. He just showcased enough to get the job done. You know, it's of course when everybody else's powers are starting to increase and stuff like that. That's when you start seeing more Force powers coming out.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we gotta talk about Peter Cushing, a.k.a. Tarkin.
Well,
That dude has had a long career in film.
But the point is that he wasn't not overly. I guess the thing I like about that, he wasn't overly used. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have really taken that over the top, but he didn't. It was balanced very well, I thought.
Oh, and also, the guy I mentioned about the Force choke scene?
Yeah.
He would go on to be in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, the partner for... the dude who hangs out with the detective a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, him. That's him. The dude who gets Force choked. He'd do that movie a few years later.
Yep.
Alright, so basically,
10 for me.
what about you guys?
I think we all agreed on it was 10.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you guys ever noticed. Have you noticed how in episode 4, Vader's voice, it's like, it was just at the peak of the fermentation of him becoming the fine wine that would transition into the later movies when it got a lot deeper.
True.
It's just getting to that peak of the fermentation.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I already marked everybody as 10 for music. But I am gonna at least ask one. Favorite theme?
Favorite
Basically,
what?
your favorite,
Fame.
basically your favorite musical part in the film. Like,
Yes.
it could be Luke's theme, the Imperial March.
Oh, the
Always
Imperial March, definitely.
You guys gotta remember one thing. Episode 4 did not showcase the Imperial March at
Oh, yeah.
all. So you can't exactly say the Imperial
Oh, yeah,
March.
that is true, yeah. They didn't add that until episode
What?
5.
What?
Imperial March.
Oh, the Imperial March, yeah.
Because that's actually technically Palpatine's theme.
Yes, it was. And Palpatine didn't come in until
I remember that.
5.
Yeah. But there is Darth Vader's theme, though.
Well, yeah, I think for me,
We could also count the main theme itself.
well, the thing is that the main theme will always be, because that was the very first thing, of course, all you heard. But when you're 9 years old and this theme comes out you, and how they take and they scroll, A New Hope, Star Wars, and then here it comes, A New Hope, and you're reading it and everything. I can still remember, I can still picture it in my mind when I was 9. I can still tell you where I was sitting and how the movie was playing. It was phenomenal. It was wow. I'm sorry.
For me, Luke's theme is always going to be my personal favorite out of all of them.
Yeah.
Just the emotional weight that's behind it all. And I still think it's one of my favorite themes of all time for the Star Wars.
You know, the battle theme that I like the most is the one with Vader and Obi-Wan. When they were doing the whole sword, and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
You remember how the song went in right there? You could just hear the despair. There is despair in that song. It was really good, but for me it's the main thing.
All right.
Oh yeah.
So, design. The practical effects were absolutely freaking amazing. I don't know how they did it, but they managed to pull off, in my personal opinion, the best practical effects I've ever seen in a film in history, especially for 1977.
Well, they actually made a show, a show that actually showed a television show that actually showed you how they came up with some of the effects and stuff like that, which was absolutely amazing. But you know what's so funny was we actually went and started doing that to wires and stuff like that, and we were able to make the same exact sounds, all of these different things. It was fantastic.
Okay, first, before we continue, I have a feeling I already know what it is. What is your scores?
Oh, 10.
And
I don't have to give an answer for that because you already know it.
10.
and
Yeah, these are not the droids you're looking for, Phoenix.
Okay.
I find your lack of faith in me disturbing, mister.
Then should I give Atmosphere 10 as well? Because I feel like that we're going to go right into that and we're going to give it a 10 anyways, right?
Well,
Yeah.
when you get to the atmosphere part of it right over here, I get back to...
No, we're going to go on to that in a minute, but I'm actually going to I'm going to ask you guys, what was your favorite effect or sound effect that they used for the design?
For me?
lightsabers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm with Ryguy on this one, lightsabers.
Mine's the holographic projector.
That is true. That was an awesome
that
effect they
was
did.
That was
a really
too.
that was a really big thing. Seeing at first, what we see for Leia, then when you see the message, it's so small. Then not to cheat, but then you look at the holographic projector in Episode 6, like how it turns up life size. Like, damn.
Actually, I remember in White Rabbit Project they talked about that in the where Carrie talked about that episode.
Yes.
Carrie Byron. She actually, all they did was they make a prism and then they of course projected it through there, which creates the 3D effect of almost like a hologram, which honestly is pretty awesome if you think about it.
So I like how the holographic projector of R2 evolved
Yes.
from being
I
a
like
small
that too.
thing
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
life size thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you really think about it, there was. You remember the chess they were playing? You remember the
Oh,
Wookiee
yeah.
and you remember Chewbacca and R2. I mean, when you start taking a look, there was so many little things. Another one is remember when they flew into the worm?
That's Episode 5.
Oh no, I'm sorry, that's episode 5. Yes, sorry.
Honestly, another one I really liked is actually how a lot of the sets that they had most of them were miniatures, and how they made them look like they were flying out in space is amazing.
You know what I thought was that little jet speeder? Remember that?
Oh
one?
yeah, the speeder
That
was pretty cool
I
too.
thought that was very neat. But you know what was cool was the fact that you had the Jawas, you had it was just.
I was so
just-
intimidated by the Wookiees. Those things look huge.
But Mos Eisley was a really neat thing. Basically when
That
you
was a
go
good
in
set.
there and you had the whole. You remember just listening to the music. It was like, wow, you knew it was like a jazz type of thing, but God, it sounded fantastic.
Look at the cantina. I was like, for an outer space bar, it's like, let's see a bar like that in real life. Like, that's nothing you would see every day.
True, and not to mention, just look at all the different races they created from that.
Oh, I know. It was just,
I know it was conveying what a bar is like. You'll see random people, random things.
But to see random aliens from all across the galaxy.
Mesmerized.
Well, you know what got
That
me
just showed you
was-
the huge scope of what this galaxy was going to be like.
And I like it. We have the death sentence on like 12 systems. And you're thinking to yourself, what do you mean? Are you talking galaxies? Are you You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
You know what I mean? 12, and it was like, or then it was amazing. I thought the way they had everything set up was just amazing. On that.
They did mess up.
Especially for
All
that
right.
guy for that scene.
Oh yeah.
What? Which one?
I'm just trying to think. The guy for we got the death sentence on 12 systems. I think they just wanted to poke fun, like, oh, this is the town drunk. He's just shooting his mouth off. He just wants to scare you.
Well, he
Yeah.
basically got his own arm cut off,
Oh
so
yeah, he did. He did.
he got his comeuppance.
Yes.
That was his partner in crime that got the arm cut off.
Also,
Not the actual drunk with the ugly face.
What was Ryan's?
Ryan's was lightsaber.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh,
Sorry, there. I'm getting. That's an old moment. You know.
Actually, there is something I do need to talk about. You know that
Brain fart.
for the whole, he did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Technically, that's a unit of distance, not a unit of time.
But wait a second.
yeah, I have a theory on that if you'll allow me to elaborate.
Go
Oh yeah,
ahead.
of course.
I want to hear this.
Now, the area of space in question for the Castle Run, if I remember correctly, it's like a part in space where there's a constant storm, and there's only very few spots where it's safe to travel through. Han took the shortest route, but it was also the most dangerous.
It would make sense for a character like Han.
Yeah.
I can see where that's going from, but I've just played recently Empire at War, and Kessel never actually had a nebula area, I don't think. Actually, wait a minute, no. No, I think there was. And I just missed it.
Okay.
And we have to think about the hyperspace lanes and things like that.
That's true.
So they wouldn't bounce into a black hole or anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So.
look how long the Falcon took to find the right route to go to Alderaan.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, so let me go up there and tell you about time and distance is relatively the same thing, okay? So if you go up there and you take a look at a nanosecond, right, to the -9, a nanosecond is actually 11.8 inches,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So if you go up there, time and distance are relatively the same thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So technically, when he says he did it in 12 parsecs, everyone says, well, that's all about distance. But distance is also time. Okay, so all I'm trying to say is that if you figure a nanosecond's 11.8 inches, so for
Then the Millennium Falcon must have been moving at way past the speed of light at that point.
Yes, so that's
So I understand why he was boasting then.
well, yeah, and
Even though technically it's not even his ship.
I gotta try. Oh, right.
But we'll talk about that after
Another thing
that.
too we could think about too, babe. When he says both parsec run for Kessel, this could be when the Falcon was at the height of its ability as a brand new ship too.
That is
Yes.
true, yeah.
Yes.
So it definitely would make sense.
It says it can go 0.5 greater than the speed of light
Yeah, for its hyperdrive.
for its hyperdrive.
Yeah,
So technically speaking, that even if he was by a black hole, he could get past it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
But but that's all we're trying to say. Because when I worked in Loran, one of the things is everyone goes up there. You talk about time. Time is a nanosecond, but you also go up there 100 nanoseconds. So let's say we have to shift the time, right? So so basically, you start your time.
Yeah,
here
0.5 HCR black market drive, hyperdrive class rating,
Yes.
superliminal speed.
So the thing is that it's like when you go through like your Loran receiver, everything's based off of time. So when the signal goes up there, it starts a clock and it stops it and it says you are here, right? But just remember, sometimes we had to adjust that signal. Sometimes we have to adjust it like 100 nanoseconds. But guess what? That means I can shift you 100 feet. Omnidirectional, basically, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that means I can shift you either a plus or a minus 100 nanoseconds. I can shift you 100 feet, plus or minus.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So you just have to be so just remember that parsec is also time, but it's also distance.
True. All right, now we go into atmosphere. I already know everybody's scores at this point.
Yeah.
But what was your favorite moment that made you feel like the atmosphere was at its peak?
I think the Battle of the Death Star. That really felt just grand.
True.
Yes. That
what about you,
good.
Phoenix Fire?
Alderaan. I would say Alderaan's destruction.
Well, yeah.
You didn't think it was gonna happen. You didn't think it was gonna happen, but it did. It's like, is he just bluffing? Like, is he just trying to do this to get a rise out of Leia?
And then, of course, when they blow it up, it's like, oh, jeez, you already know.
He wasn't kidding.
Yeah, everything just went down the shitter there.
So I'll say Alderaan's destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you?
Me? I'm gonna go with. I get back to the fight scene with Vader and
Obi-Wan?
The
Alright.
reason for that is it really does set the other half of the film. It really does. I think that's what it's supposed to and what's intended.
You want to know mine? The death of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
Oh wow,
That one hit me hard because I'm like, oh, shit just got real. Especially when you see their dead corpses burned to a crisp. You're like, ah, oh, damn, you didn't want these people to suffer like that. But, damn.
Kind of makes you wonder, wouldn't they have some kind of security system or whatnot, or wouldn't they be inside with the door shut? Like,
No, they literally broke into the building and burned the entire place to the ground, including them alive.
Yeah, they were trying to make it look like it was sand people too.
Yeah.
But there's just no way you can do it.
Still. My good lord. But yeah, honestly, that scene hit me hard personally for atmosphere and all. And how it made you feel like, oh, damn. Well, I guess there's no turning back now. Alright, well, we already know what our total scores are. 50 all across the board. Alright, next is, in my personal opinion, my favorite movie of all time. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Alright, what are you guys' scores? You think you guys are going to get?
50.
Yeah, 50.
Alright, 50, 50, 50.
You know what it is.
Yep, and 50 for me too. This one I know for certain. Because, good lord, this is... Yeah, if you guys want to know what I meant, like, when I said for the other reviews, how it was basically... Episode 8 was a rehash of Episode 5, you're going to find out why I hated that movie for as much as I did. Because, if anything, nothing will top Episode 5 as one of the greatest sequels of all time.
Yeah.
First of all, I like how, let me double check the location for Episode 4, but, I think it was over in Norway where they did it.
For Hoth?
Yeah. Give me a second. Here we go. Filming locations. Alcatraz Island, actually.
There you go.
Banks, Elstree Studios, Forest Grove, Hardanger, Jokunen. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, please let me know in the comments. Hillsboro and San Francisco. That's actually kind of cool.
Yes.
But wait, hang on. What about Alcatraz? What was that one for? I don't know.
That's kind of wondering now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Retro, look it up. Tell us now. You got us all intrigued.
I know. Give me a second. I'm checking it right now just to make sure. The filming. Here we go. Oh yeah, for the Hoth battle, it was definitely Norway.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
I actually, if you guys actually want to know something pretty interesting, you were wondering about all those cuts and bruises that Mark Hamill had. That was because of an accident.
It was in a car accident.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
And to think they actually made it work in the film, that's actually kind of awesome.
Oh yes.
It's actually pretty cool.
How many people are actually willing to real life accident into a movie you're doing?
That's true.
Yeah.
Not many, I don't think.
Not many.
Well, that was one of George Lucas's. He had to confront that immediately.
And he confronted it in possibly the best way.
Well, that's the reason why that they had the big fight scene that was going on, and they had to do it immediately to go up there to already establish that he got hurt in the car accident.
Yeah. Let me see. Elstree Studios in Hertfordshire, England. So they went back there, it looks like. Oh, they did that for the inside of the Hoth base.
Yes.
Let's see. Let me double check here. Yeah, let me see if I can locate.
Well, we'll just keep going while you're looking that up. But so, how about this? What part of the story, besides the reveal, because everything's on the reveal, let's say, what part of the story did you guys thought was a really pivotal part in the Star Wars lore, with the exception of the reveal from Vader to Luke?
Hmm.
Well, I got my answer for that already.
What was
Leia falling for Han?
Oh my, yeah, that's
The love
true.
Story. It's like, are they? Aren't they?
Yep.
And then it wasn't until towards the end of the movie that solidified that love.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's like, I was like, yes. It's like she gets to be with her nerf herder.
Well,
What is a nerf
Even though they're
Well,
Yes.
I thought a kind of a big point there, and I didn't know how they were going to bring him back, is when they encased him in carbonite.
Oh, that would be my atmosphere moment, because that was just incredible.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Oh my god, yeah.
It was.
there you go.
That was. It was so intense. Because you know what it was? It was Chewie's cry that just really solidified that moment.
Yeah.
And here you go for Alcatraz Island was used in Star Wars. A young George Lucas recorded the sounds for the cell doors.
That's what I was thinking of!
Oh yeah.
That was what I was thinking of. Thank
Just
you.
looking it up right now.
Wow.
But yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's start off with story.
Well,
Well, first of all, I like I said, it was basically located, starts on Hoth. Very bleak and desolate. You're thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? What's going on here?
Yeah.
You see Luke traveling around, trying to figure out what's going on outside. But of course, the whole Wampa scene. But then you notice that he starts using the Force. And you're like, oh crap, he's actually learning. He's really embracing it. And then of course, honestly, for him being self-taught, it's actually not bad.
Well, he wasn't self-taught.
Well,
In a
you know,
sense.
after
Yeah,
after Obi-Wan died, yeah, he kind of self-taught himself. Then of course, it does have one of the more famous mean scenes of the film, and I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Actually, MythBusters actually did a myth on that. Could you actually
Yeah, I
survive inside a Tauntaun? Which you can. You could theoretically survive inside of a very recently killed animal carcass, if it's big enough,
Yeah.
and you could actually survive until someone gets help. Which is honestly kind of surprising. I'll have to remember that if I ever get myself trapped in a pretty dangerous blizzard.
Don't get any ideas anytime soon.
I also like how this story takes a much darker turn. Because
Oh, yeah.
good lord, everything seems to be going wrong for these guys. First is, of course, that the entire gang gets captured. Hoth base is completely destroyed. The rebels are on the run. Lando betrays them. Luke loses his arm. He finds out his father is Darth Vader. Sorry about the spoiler. And of course, Han is encased in carbonite, and now no one knows where the heck he is. Everything seems to be going horribly wrong, and it ends in a surprisingly bittersweet note. Sure, most of the gang gets back together, but now one of their friends is captured, and now they have to find a way to get him out.
Well, you have to understand, too, the one thing I like about the movie is that how they made it into two separate movies. You know, so basically you had Luke going to Yoda and stuff like that. So then here
Two
comes,
storylines acting in unison.
Yes. And where you had R2 and Luke in one area, and then you had C-3PO and
Han,
and
Chewie, and Leia
all in another, you know. So I really honestly thought that was a very smart way of doing it, and then bringing them together at this one point, which I thought was another exceptional. Was great. That how Vader utilized that to get Luke to leave sooner.
True.
Yes.
So, is your guys' score a 10 on story?
Oh yes.
Mm.
And you gotta remember too, episode 4 was lighthearted and all that. Episode 5 already went darker because it's in the title. Empire.
I always thought that Star Wars Episode 6 was a lighthearted story, not the other. But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it
Well,
is.
you gotta
Makes sense
remember
why episode 5 is darker because, like I say, it's in the title. The Empire Strikes Back is showing that the Empire wants revenge for what the rebellion did.
Yes.
True.
And that was the thing too, is because that is so Sith. You know, it really is. It is so dark side of the Force.
Alright, so favorite story moment. We'll start off with we'll start off with Phoenix Fire this time.
Again, Han and Leia having their tender moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Where they're all set to kiss, but 3PO has to be a damn dick and cock block Han and Leia. Like,
Yep,
really,
yep,
dude?
yep.
Like, really? Like, leave
Yeah.
them alone for a few extra seconds, damn it. We want to see them, because, well, in the beginning, how they were teasing each other, and
Yeah.
they were irritable, but then eventually she what was I say, she tore down some of her defensive walls and
Yes.
actually
Yeah.
opened up to him.
Yeah.
She actually showed her human side. It's like, she's not this tough-ass bitch that we're going to see 24/7. She actually is human, capable of love, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Right Guy? What is your favorite story moment?
Han getting encased in carbonite.
Yep. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were talking about that.
You?
Oh, that was that. I have to tell you, that was me. I thought
Carbonite scene?
It was just because of Chewie, you know, right there you could just hear it, and it is so ominous at that point.
Ominous.
Ominous, yeah, that's right.
For
Losing
me,
his friend and they want to lose him.
Yeah,
True.
exactly.
for me, it was a tie between two Vader moments. One is, no, I am your father
But
scene. But if I were to say between the two, it was mainly the surprise twist that Lando betrays them. Because that one's like, oh no, come on, this can't get worse than that.
Well, because everybody's probably, when you're talking about the moment, that's the reason why we were talking about other moments.
However, at the same time, if I'm gonna say the one that impacted me the most, it is the "I am your father" scene.
I think it impacted
Yeah.
everybody the most. But we were
I
trying
even
to go
remember-
with the obvious, not doing the obvious, but
True,
trying
but
to actually look at
I
it.
definitely would go for the Lando betraying them, though.
Yeah, that,
Actually, you know what you just all say too was a really good iconic scene? Is when Luke's leaving Dagobah and Yoda and Obi-Wan are talking and Yoda's in the...
Actually, no.
oh,
Luke
that
is
is
our only hope.
yes.
That
When he lifts up the starship, yeah. I'm sorry, I gotta change my answer. That one's it.
Because you think of it, Obi-Wan and you're like, oh, Luke's our last hope to the galaxy, and then Yoda's
No,
like,
that's
there-
episode 6.
no, it's in
No,
episode 5.
that was 5.
Obi-Wan tells Yoda, Luke is their only hope, and Yoda's like, no, there is
There is
another.
another.
And then towards the
I
end,
always thought that
of
was.
episode
Oh, yeah,
5,
you're right.
we
It
find
is
out
5.
When Leia senses Luke's in danger, is like, is there a connection between these two? Like, how is Leia figuring it out? It's like, is there more to Leia than they're telling us?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And,
it's like, that's when it's like it kept me wondering, like, what's the connection? Is she another hero to the galaxy that we don't know about? That we
Yeah.
already do know?
For me, though, yeah, I gotta change my answer to, when Yoda lifts up the ship after finally showing Luke that he was completely wrong, and of course,
Size matters
no,
not.
it's more like, that is why you fail. Because, honestly, he failed because he underestimated it.
Well, but he's also thinking of the. He's, you know.
It's the phrase that he used, size matters not.
Yes.
Alright, let's go on to,
Size, do you?
let's go on
Scene you could say,
to,
too,
what?
When Luke slashes his own, another scene you could say too is when Luke slashes Vader's head off, thinking it's Vader.
Only to reveal it's him.
Yes.
That's another one too.
Mm-hmm.
That could have, even though if you take a look, that happened before the reveal. So what would that have said? You know, if we were paying attention.
Either Luke was the son of Vader, or it could have been, you will turn to the dark side.
Or this is your moment. Actually, remember your failure in the cave.
Yep. So basically, it's interesting.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go on to characters now. Should I play as a 10?
10 for me.
And
All right.
Because there's no.
This is gonna be one of the strangest episodes I've ever done on this show, where we already know it's 10 all around.
The one thing that I can say is about when they even put in Lando right over there, he really was. They were smugglers. They were, you know what I mean, always looking for a better deal. So really, it was kind of like just seeing Han, you know,
All right.
at the beginning.
Okay. Favorite episode 5 character that isn't from the cast from the first film?
Lando.
Boba Fett.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when he was introduced.
Because
Yeah.
Boba Fett he had such little screen time, but he had such an impact for being a threat to them.
Yeah.
One of the
Oh yeah.
one of the greatest bounty
He was a
hunters in
bit
the
more
galaxy.
terrifying.
That I have to tell you that. Oh, that's a good one right there too.
This was also the introduction of Yoda and Emperor Palpatine.
Yes, it was, but you know the thing.
But if I
is-
were to say, I am still gonna pick Yoda in this case, for me.
you know,
Even though I do love Ian McDiarmid, surprisingly though, he doesn't get much screen time on this one. But he is introduced in this film, and not only that, it's also played by the same actor. He's just wearing a lot of makeup. Because he was pretty young when he was put into the film.
Retro, you gotta remember one thing. In the original episode 5, it wasn't actually Ian McDiarmid. It was a female actress with heavy makeup and a monkey face and all that as the Emperor.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I believe so.
It wasn't until the 90s and all the other re-releases of episode 5 they recorded that with Ian McDiarmid.
Oh.
you know, I have to.
Yeah, I
say,
know he was in episode 6 though. Yeah. Yeah, it was actually no, it was Clive Reville.
I have to say that for me, I would have to say it would be Yoda.
Phoenix, you are actually wrong on that. It's Clive Selsby Reville. And he's still alive. He was the original, if you take a look here, he was the original Palpatine, and he's a veteran of the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Wow.
Wow.
Which, friggin' damn, that is, if you guys don't know, the Royal Shakespeare Company is pretty much one of the biggest theater companies in the world. So to be a recognized veteran is insane.
My character is Yoda. It'd have to be. He's the one that kind of, as the introduction part right over there, everybody wants to know how the Force is and how is this little dude, this little green dude, is supposed to, what I mean, kind of bring everything out. So really, it was Yoda, but Boba Fett he was huge, really big.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Music. Freaking 10s already. I already made sure. But I am gonna ask favorite music track of the film.
Actually,
Imperial March is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Imperial March.
I'm gonna go with. I really liked Cloud City.
That's a good one.
I really just liked how it was very, it was still a very hard-hitting piece, very epic, but it
Showed
really
you the
made
wonder
it.
of
Yes,
Bespin itself.
It did.
What about you, Phoenix?
That's a good one. Okay, yes, Imperial March, but actually, I'll say, or the Leia's theme, or towards the end of the movie, towards when they start the whole galaxy, the big, I guess you could say a supernova, that big star.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Just before they go to the credit.
Yeah.
That scene. It's like because you could feel the emotions, like glad to be together again, but at the same time, like they feel lost.
Yes.
True.
Convey it.
Yeah, true enough. Honestly, I'm with him on this one.
Yeah,
And to
that
choose
was
Leia's
a
theme for the
good-
ending is actually a very interesting twist.
It was
To
actually
choose that one.
It was but it was perfect because of the fact that Han is gone. You know what I'm trying to say? And I really think that right there kind of illustrated probably one of the bigger parts. Don't you guys think?
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
I told you it was a female.
it was her.
Wow.
So then Clive did the voice then.
Yes, that makes sense.
All right, that makes sense. All right, never mind. We're good.
So Phoenix was right in a way.
But yeah, so Phoenix was right about the look, but the voice was definitely someone else. Which honestly, if you think about it, I am kind of glad they switched to Ian McDermott. It didn't seem like it matched very well, honestly.
Well, it makes. Well,
I do like Clive's performance though. He is
Well, no,
great.
it's
He
not-
did a really good job.
well,
It's just
the performance was very, very good.
We didn't even know what looked or sound like. We just heard about the character. We didn't
Yes, we
know
never
what he was
really
actually
paid
going
it.
to be.
Yeah.
We just knew he was this big, menacing figure. We didn't have an exact look or sound of what he was going to be.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, Majorji.
We had to use our
Oh,
imagination.
sorry,
for
Majori Eaton. Passed away in 1986, April 20.
Wow.
21st.
That was on the last. In '83 was the Return of the Jedi.
Alright, so, we got design next. And honestly, it's going to be very interesting to see the least.
You know the thing I like about the design is, let's take a look. They went to Hoth, then they went to the Cloud City, right, and stuff like that. And then you could see them gallivanting all over the place, in a sense. I thought the designs of things was pretty ambitious, what they were trying to do and trying to set up.
Yeah, true enough.
Oh yeah.
Alright, but what about you, Rye Guy? What would be your, I'm going to guess everybody's a 10, of course.
Of course.
But, what would you guys say for your favorite design for this particular film itself?
Cloud City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a really...
Yeah.
But you know what the thing I liked about it was when when you started getting into the bowels of you remember when when he took on Vader and everything else? When you start taking a look at that, you go from this gorgeous, just totally beautiful as you're coming in, and now you're in the bowels of, Cloud City, right over there where it's dark and it's grungy and everything else like that. I just thought that was kind of a really neat, thought process, I guess, how they went through that right there. I really liked how the design always seemed to just keep things moving one step ahead.
True. Phoenix Fire, what about you? Phoenix? Right guy, is he answering?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, never mind. All right, we're good.
Sorry, my was acting up.
No worries. What would
That's an
you?
issue.
First of all, you wanted a 10 score on design, right?
10. Really, you really want to go there?
Good point. What would you say is your favorite part of the film for design?
The asteroid field.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a good one too.
For me,
Yeah, that was pretty good.
it was the Hoth battle.
That was a good one too.
What about you?
I thought it was interesting how we got to see that. How we just seen the asteroids briefly crash into Hoth, and then actually see the dangers of them flying into it and risking their own ass to just get away from the Empire.
Oh yeah.
True.
Damn.
What about you?
Wow. I really, I thought the battle was really, really good, in Hoth. I actually, part of me really likes the Dagobah system. I really think that, if you start taking a look, you go from sci-fi to basically something like from a horror movie, in a sense. You go into that type of a chasm and stuff like that, into a swamp and everything else. I just liked how you were able to be treated to those different things. Basically, Cloud City versus Dagobah, because that was pretty much how the two storylines went.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Now it is.
I'm gonna lie. Dagobah was kind of gloomy and depressing, if that would be the right way to describe it.
But that kind of makes sense, though, considering his mental state, that Yoda's mental state. He wanted to keep himself away from everything.
Well, and I think too is that he's trying to hide, and the thing is,
He doesn't want to be found.
You're not going to find somebody in Dagobah. Are you really going to go up there and search a planet that is that? Why would anybody want to live there? You know what I mean? So I don't think anybody would have went and shot to Dagobah and said, "Oh, we're going to try to find a Jedi here."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm. You actually find out why he picked Dagobah.
Yeah.
That's true. And including the Clone Wars, that's actually where he went to meet the sages.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna guess everybody wants a 10 for atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, 10 for atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
All right, so we already know 50 score, but what was your favorite atmospheric scenes of Star Wars Episode 5?
Well, I give him my answer for that. If I can go first, if anyone okay with that.
Huh?
Would you guys mind if I go first?
Go for it.
Go ahead.
So I'll start now. The Han and Leia, I love you scene. I know.
Yeah.
It was heartfelt but tragic. Because
Because
you already knew what was going to happen to Han afterwards.
You didn't expect him to be somewhat of an ass to just say, I know. You thought he was actually going to say, I love you back. But they wanted to keep you waiting for him to actually say it.
No,
So I think
actually,
I know
being
is
honest
the
with
best way to
you,
go about it.
Oh yeah.
but being honest with you, take a look at the type of person that he is.
He's suave.
Seriously.
That's
just
his
everybody
nature.
Everybody that knew Han knew that he was going to say exactly what he was. That's how I looked at it. I would not have ever thought that he was going to say "I love you."
Yeah, saying I love you just doesn't seem like it's in Han's wheelhouse.
It's kind of like Guido shooting first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. But still, that scene right there. I love
Greedo.
You, I know.
Greedo, yeah. Greedo.
What is wrong with you?
I'm having a day.
Wait, he wasn't saying Greedo?
He said Guido.
I said Guido.
Oh my god!
I know! I'm like, what?
I know. I went up there and
You know how this was forward anyway.
Okay. Let me see. Rye Guy, what about you? What is your favorite atmospheric scene?
Well, I'd have to go with the part where you actually see Han go under and then come up encased in carbonite. That hit pretty hard.
What about you?
Well, I'm gonna that was actually a really great part of the scene right over there, but you know, I'm not for now. This is for
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Well, for atmosphere, the one thing that will always stick with me, and I've been saying it an awful lot, is Chewie's cry.
All right.
That will always stick with me because it's not necessarily him being encased in carbonite. It was the fact that you hear everything on that one cry. You hear it all.
True.
It goes through
All right.
every step.
Yep. All right. If I'm gonna be honest, and yes, I know this seems obvious for a lot of people, it is the "I am your father" scene. It is the most.
Yes.
It was one of the biggest plot twists of any film in history.
Yes.
The timing, and not to mention, I actually remember watching a bunch of kids watch this for the first time, and you should see their eyes open and their eyes and their pupils widen. They don't know what they just found out. One of the biggest bombshells they'll ever know. And seeing the reactions, it's filled with fear and yet excitement. You see just, like, where's the story going to turn now? What's going to happen now? Because they found out one of the biggest reveals in cinematic history. And
It kind of reminds you of back in the day, too, Retro, if you think of it. I'm sure Chief will remember this, as him being for that time.
Yeah.
Is the soap opera Dallas, Who Shot JR. That was the biggest plot twist of TV no one ever saw coming.
Huh?
Well, but you also got to be thinking too. How do you take the failure of the cave
and turn it into a scene that would not only present that option, but also leave it open to the interpretation.
So if you took a look at the scene and all of a sudden he chops off his head and all of a sudden he sees himself at this. So now when Vader, it says, Luke,
remember your failure in the cave.
Well, you remember the failure of the cave, but now you go back to Vader, and Vader's saying that, look, dude, I'm your dad. But now think back to the cave.
This could have been a lie for all he knew. But at the same time, you almost feel a twinge of truth that Vader says in his voice.
So why now you have to ask yourself a question, would it be a failure in the cave?
No,
Not
he
unless-
didn't fail because he let himself go and drop.
No, but what I mean is that think of it this way. Okay, so let's say that Yoda did know something. So he's talking about the failure of the cave. To save your dad, you have to save your dad. You can't kill your dad. You know what I'm trying to say? So technically, we'll be getting into that when we get into 6. But what if Yoda was actually thinking ahead by saying that his failure in the cave, because most people wouldn't think of it as a failure. Hey, you took out Vader, but why is your face there? You know what I mean? So.
But
it could have been a play on of insecurity as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Actually, what was your first experience with that scene when you
Well,
first saw it?
I will tell you right now, when he saw Vader come at him, but I think what shocked everybody is that they saw Luke's face. I think it was so it was so huge. You can hear the gasp in the actual movie theater. However, I don't think any of us now would have ever, thought of the plot twist. You would say, is that Luke, I'm your father. I think what it is that now that I have a chance to really dwell on this or think about this, clear back when I was 11 until now, I can honestly tell you that now seeing that, it would make what Vader told me having a huge amount of validity. Because trust me, we didn't go back to the cave.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, oh my God, no! We were just like him. We were screaming, no, that's impossible. But there it was. The truth was already in a few scenes before that.
Yep.
Isn't it? I mean, now you look at it, you're like, oh, good God, man! George Lucas set that so up. He gave us everything,
And yet,
we
no
all
one
blew it.
noticed.
And we all blew it.
Damn.
For me, for the cave scene, I'm like, when Luke slashes Vader's head off and you see his face, I'm like, wait, is there going to be a bit more of a connection to these two? Like, why are they making Luke's insecurity be Vader for some reason?
For me,
Of
That-
all
well,
the things
actually, hold on. I'm
Go
going
ahead,
to explain mine.
to do with the universe,
Yeah, for
Yeah.
me,
why?
I
why
always-
is it Vader?
I always thought that's, oh my God, Luke might turn to the dark side. Because I'm thinking, he is going to become someone like Vader. That's what I thought of it at first. But when I heard that freaking line, I'm like, oh, damn it!
But I still think the fact is that it was there was a lot in this movie that really hit you hard. I mean, it was like smacking you in the face. But I think what happened is that why you didn't understand why you saw Luke's face there. I mean, yes, you could think about it as Luke was going to turn to the dark side, but why did it take Vader's coming after him and all he's thinking is I have to defend myself, and then he takes off his head and there's his face. So it really still gets back to the point is that as I said, is it a failure? I didn't think it was a failure at the cave, but I was 11 at the time. So I didn't think it was a failure at the cave. I thought that he got Vader. I just didn't understand his face at the time.
All right, so now we're going on to episode 6. All right, hold on. I gotta say this. You guys are gonna predict your scores of 50, right?
No,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Really?
nope.
What is yours?
49. I heard crickets.
And you guys thought I was crazy.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Now, there was to me, you have to understand that it was very hard for me to see Han in more of a comedic role.
He actually wasn't.
There was something about certain things of Han during the filming that it was very hard. I mean, it wasn't. Of course, maybe it's because I wanted to see Han more as Han, but I didn't really see him as that. Maybe the carbonite, maybe the carbonite caused some change.
Or maybe he was thinking about stuff while he was in there.
That was the only part, and it wasn't because he didn't play the character. He played the character exceptionally well, but I think the way the writing went to his character really kind of changed a lot of who Han was. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So it made it hard for me to really look at that, because when you take a look at 4 or 5, man, he was the man. Everybody wanted to be Han Solo. I mean, let's just face it.
Or hell, it could have been more like a near-death experience with the carbonite thing.
But it was just the fact that it just did not seem like Han to me. That made it. It just made it very hard for me with that movie.
What about you guys?
I'd like to think Leia kind of rubbed off on Han a bit.
That's what
More
another
down to
thing
earth.
I was thinking. Yeah.
Like,
Also,
that's why he wasn't Han we knew.
yeah.
I
For me, what do you guys think your scores are gonna be?
Probably 50, because episode 6 is my favorite of all the OG saga.
Right, guy?
I think he fell asleep on us. He's been snoring for a few minutes.
Right, guy. Oh my God, he is.
No, he's not asleep.
Right, guy.
I think he fell asleep.
Buddy.
No, I think
Got a blowhorn?
now if he's got other things to do, remember grandma's
No, I think he actually is asleep because I hear him snoring.
Okay, hold on a
I
second.
can hear him snoring.
Hold on a second. I gotta go use the head real quick.
All right. Actually, let me try this. Let me see if I can try to. I'm gonna. Shoot. Yo, right guy, are you there, Buddy.
Get a really loud air horn or something, then I'll unplug the headset so I don't get deaf.
Alright, I'll leave it to you then. Oh, there we go. Raga, you there?
Huh?
There you... Were you asleep?
No, I've just been. You guys been talking so much, it was hard for me to interject.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Apologize.
Yeah, my
That's
bad.
all right. No apologies needed.
Alright, so what would you say your overall score is going to be for episode 6?
What do you think?
50.
Yeah.
Yeah, Master Chief gave it a 49.
Oh.
He didn't think that Han Solo's character was done right in the film. Personally, I think he was done right because I think Leia did rub off on him.
Yeah.
He didn't like the smuggler was leaving him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to give it a 50. But yeah, we're going to need to do some real work on this in order to convince him otherwise.
I think we'll pull it off.
Alright, so while he's gone, let's take a look at the story. Well, okay. I know a lot of people are going to absolutely talk about, well, yeah, his, the fact that this thing brings back the Death Star.
Oh yeah.
Which I actually happen to have a small little model right here.
Woo.
But,
Nerd.
very funny.
Sorry, I had to do that for fun. Just for the fun.
Yeah, I know. But in overall cases, I can see where a lot of fans were coming from with this. But then think about it this way. And I mainly think about it this way. They did just lose the first Death Star pretty easily, but they've started construction way back in episode 2. And for it to be like this, like basically as you can see with this model that only has like certain construction hasn't been finished yet, that they wanted at least to have at least some edge over the Rebel Alliance this time. A weapon that they can't beat. Hence,
Yeah.
the Death Star 2.
Right.
You have to remember too, for all these movies, they don't exactly say it, but there are little space gaps, you could say, like little time jumps.
That's true.
Right.
It took them nearly 3 years alone to find Han was at Jabba's palace
That's true.
and all that. It did take them a while to track Boba Fett and on down.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that too. They probably started the second Death Star construction probably all the way back in episode 5, and we just learned about it in episode 6.
That's true.
Yep.
And not to mention, it's also... This Death Star 2 has a lot more capabilities than the first one. Because not only does it have the ability to destroy a planet, it can even reduce its power to shoot down ships. So this thing is a literal danger to anyone in the entire fleet at this point.
Yep.
Well, I always thought the original Death Star had the ability to destroy ships as well.
No, it
Like
did
the
not
first-
actually. According to what I found out, it only had the ability to destroy planets.
And there's nothing to do with Death Star 2. It had a way faster recharge time to basically destroy things.
Yeah, so they were definitely trying to make improvements over the first one.
Oh yeah.
They didn't want the same flaws as last time.
Mm-hmm. Plus,
we all know the Emperor did not like failure.
true.
Oh yeah.
Another one that I know a lot of people talk about is, of course, the going into the Death Star scene almost seems a little bit like the trench run. I can see where you're coming from, but here's my argument. First of all, the Millennium Falcon was never at the head of the attack. That's one. Two, they also were fighting an entire Imperial armada. Wrap your head around that. So they had to deal with that and deal with the Death Star at the same time. Not to mention, they had to wait until the shields were down in order for them to even get inside. Where
Right.
in episode 4, it was as simple as just going there.
Right.
And not to mention, they didn't have Vader being shoved down their throats.
Right.
So we already know for a fact that in those situations, that's already a major difference. So if you're gonna say the argument that this is basically a rehash of episode 4, yeah, those are some of my arguments for that. Another is that Luke is nowhere near the fight this time.
Right.
He's dealing with his own issues with Vader and Palpatine. So, in all honesty, this could go either way for all these characters. But, again, that's just what happens, though. But yeah, honestly, yeah, it's definitely what you wouldn't expect. But yeah, if people are saying that if this is a rehash of episode 4, I can honestly tell you, from me watching all 9 films, it absolutely is not.
No. It's not.
Which I'm very thankful for. Yes, it does take at least some things from the first movie, but they do it differently enough that it makes them either a bigger threat or is done much better overall. So, in my personal opinion, I'm giving the story a 10. What about you guys?
Right. 10. I'll go with a 10 again.
Alright. Phoenix Fire?
Fine.
Alright, what are your favorite story moments of episode 6? And we'll start with you, Rad Guy.
Let's see. I think when Vader turns back to the light and throws the Emperor down the shaft.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. Why's that?
Well, watching Vader watch his son get electrocuted by the Emperor and actually kind of see him feel something and then grab Palpatine and just throw him down the shaft, that was a big moment.
Very true.
That's true.
What about you, Phoenix Fire?
Well, to touch on for Rygar, what you're saying about for Vader and Palpatine and all that, is like the first 2 movies, all we knew about Vader was he was this big badass that was so dark and sinister, and then just see him to somehow snap and wanting to protect his son, like no one saw it coming.
Yeah, I'm with Yeah?
You're saying? No, you were saying something. I could go
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was gonna agree with you and Rye Guy. It's a really good scene.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest. For me, personally, my favorite scene, I'd have to say the Battle of Endor.
Ah.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Easy, because if you think of it, the Emperor is so sure of his big Imperial army, they're going to stop the rebellion right then and there. But no one expected the Ewoks to prove to be allies to the rebellion in the end.
Not to
crazy.
Not to mention, those little guys are tough.
Had animal instincts. Exactly. Who thought these cute teddy bears had animal instincts that wanted to help humans overthrow these other evil humans to help save the universe? Because they basically don't know about anything about the Empire. They don't know about the Rebellion. They don't know why they're fighting. They just know the stories from 3PO. They don't know the whole history of the Galactic Empire, why they're the way they are.
True.
They just assume like, oh, these guys are bad. We're gonna join you.
Yep. What about you? What was your favorite story moment?
They try to balance.
Story moment?
For one.
Let me see. In episode 6.
Also, what is your score?
Well, actually, you better switch it back to a 50. I had a chance to think about it.
There you go. Finally.
No, it was just when I thought about it when I got up there, it wasn't being critical. It's just that I'm used to having Han be Han, so it was that's very hard for me. It's just his character changed even when I was a kid. Changed too much for me. I was 14. And it still changed. I really liked Han as Han because he was the man. In a sense.
Right.
You know, he was basically Han and Indiana Jones go perfectly well together. Thank you very much. So the
Story's 10 then.
story was always a 10.
All right. So what would you say favorite story moment?
My favorite story moment in that would be Admiral Akbar. It's a trap.
Hey, that was a good one.
Son of a bitch. Another one that's been memed to freaking death.
Yes, but it was a very pivotal
Basically,
point in that.
Shit. Do you? Hey, yeah. Just remember,
Yeah.
don't spell part A backward. Don't say part A backwards.
Yeah,
Well-
yeah.
All right. So, with that in mind, let's go on to characters. What do you guys say your score is? I'm guessing from you now that might have changed to a 10.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Well,
I think
yeah.
we're all tens again.
Yep, all 10s. All right, so favorite
Yeah.
character in episode 6, and and since they're all culminating into this one film, and there was really only one new character added to it, we're gonna just culminate them all in this one
Excuse you?
episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one new character. There was more than one.
There was a lot of characters. in
Well,
this one, yes.
all right, yeah, you're right, but still, actually, yeah, let's go with new characters that like the other two movies. Favorite new character from episode 6.
Mm.
No, that's too easy.
No,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The Ewoks,
Yeah.
especially the one that helped
Wicket.
Leia
Yeah, that was.
that bashed the shit out of the Imperial Scout Troopers.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Was it what's his name? Was it Wicket?
Yes, Wicket the Ewok.
It's
Oh
like called Warwick Davis. Like, damn, like you knew these.
I
guys
can't
were
believe that's
badass.
Warren Davis wearing that.
It's funny.
Oh, speaking of Warwick Davis, a trailer for the new Willow series was released recently.
Oh, cool.
I heard about
Yep.
that.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that one-
Harrison Ford crashed some sort of Star Wars celebration recently and released the first
Indiana
picture of
Jones.
next Indiana Jones movie.
Yep.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. So Wicket the Ewok. What about you, Rad Guy?
I
I
have
was
to
saying-
go Ewoks in general just because I didn't expect them to do jack shit the first time I watched because
Mhm.
even back then I knew they looked like teddy bears, but once I saw them actually just decimating the stormtroopers, I was dumbfounded even for a dumb little kid.
True.
And the best thing too is the Ewoks were so scared of humans at first, but then they came to trust so many humans. By the end of the movie, it's like
Yeah.
you just felt so good about it. It's like you just love them for that.
What
Yeah,
about
cream sauce, but we won't go
what
there.
about you?
But let's see. For me, it was Jabba.
Jabba.
It was, you know, it was just the presence, you know. You just kind of remind you of a mafia don, you know. It that's what he reminded me of. And even though that he was this outlandish character and stuff like that, but his mannerisms, his persona, everything else like that is, you know, saying that he was in charge of this mafia group right over here. It was awesome.
Yep.
I really liked it.
All right. For me,
Oh,
Shiv Palpatine.
oh yeah, Palpatine.
Ian McDermott makes his first official debut as Palpatine, and
We
God
finally got to
bless
see
it.
The face and voice of the Empire.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
good God. This is the reason why villains like him are rare. Villains who just enjoy doing evil. And
Oh yeah.
God bless you, you can feel the evil energy. He's like that list I told you about where it's called characters you love to hate. And
Oh yeah.
he's one of them.
Oh yeah.
He's an amazing villain overall. And by God, you just can't go wrong with the dude.
Oh god, yeah.
All
And
right.
I gotta agree with Chief though. Jabba's a good choice too, if you think of it, because
Jabba's good, yeah.
But if you think of it, in the original whole thing for Jabba, he was
Technically,
supposed to be a
you
fat
can't
human.
choose him. Jabba was already in the first movie.
No, originally they say Jabba was going to
No,
be a
no,
fat
no, no.
human
They
male.
added him
That was going to be
into
like
the
a
first
mafia
movie.
boss.
Hmm.
But to actually make him into like an alien slug to be a mafia type boss, that was a good twist because it is a sci-fi movie. So like, do we really want a human threat?
Because see, what
Making him-
happened was
making-
what they
making him
did
alien
was,
better.
and when they did the remakes.
Oh yeah, you're right.
5
They
and
did
6,
switch him out, didn't they?
They brought him in, and then they brought him in smaller. They really took away from what Jabba was really supposed to be. But take a look, though. You were just kind of curious before for 2 movies in a row. You knew Jabba was all powerful because he was having everybody go after Han, right? But
Yeah.
but when you went up there and you saw him, you're like going. I agree with Phoenix like this. Here he is.
Hulking Behemoth is a mafia boss.
Yes, you know what I mean?
He's the leader of the criminal underworld of Tatooine.
Yes.
And for good damn reason.
And probably most of the galactic civilization.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the criminal organizations there, like the Black Suns and all that. I know one thing in mind. Even the Exchange, no one messes with the Hutts. There's a reason
Yeah.
why they run the criminal underworld of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Because those guys know how to use criminal organizations to the best of their ability.
Oh yeah.
And the only ones that ever screw with them are the ones that are usually independent.
Yep.
Alright. Music,
And we already know.
10.
Yeah.
Favorite themes then. We'll start with Rye Guy.
10.
Favorite themes. Not sure which one to go with. I don't think I can really decide on just one. Mostly because I can't remember any of the damn names.
For me, the Ewoks Rise. You know when they go for that calling call? So they use the horn, and then all of a sudden you hear the music get bump up as you see all the Ewoks popping up out of nowhere, and they start throwing, just basically ambushing the Imperials.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Mine comes with the whole thing that it's a trap.
Oh,
Because-
so basically
because
the
main thing-
Imperial ambush.
Yes, and that, I mean, just when he says that, because everything goes silent until after he mutters those words.
First sirens, then that.
Well, that's what it's a trap, then boom, and then it hits you really hard. You know, kind of like it gave him that moment right there, that one moment to go up there and say, "Shit just got real. We're gonna have to do something," and then there we go.
Yeah. What about you, Phoenix?
Oh man, that's a toughie, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Because I got 3. Well, 2 were in the original, but 3rd wasn't added till re-released in the 90s. And the first one would be the Battle of Jabba's Skiff.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a good one.
And then my second favorite, I have to say, is Vader's funeral theme.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like when
Yes,
basically Anakin leaves
yes.
Vader's armor, it's like a slow funeral march. The way they did it, a piano version of the Imperial March.
Yeah, honestly, it was a smart call.
Oh yeah.
And then the last one is basically the rebellion celebration against the Empire with
Yep,
Vader's funeral
Rebel
pyre.
Victory.
Oh yeah.
So it's like basically you're seeing Luke burn Vader's armor, saying goodbye to his father.
Yep, and then
Yeah.
of course, as soon as that's
then
over with, then all of a sudden you see
transition-
Obi-Wan, Yoda, and him, all
Oh,
three of
yeah.
them, all of them very happy to see that Luke and the others are safe and sound.
Yeah, I like the transition, how you see the whole galaxy celebrating Empire,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Empire's
yeah.
gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can see all the different civilizations that were impacted by the darkness for so long.
Oh yeah.
So that was a nice theme.
Mm-hmm.
I
And it was
agree. I think your second pick, there when it was just, you know, it was very, it was just very surreal, I guess you
Emotional.
would say. It was a very
It was
surreal
emotional.
moment
Yeah.
at that point.
And emotional,
And
yeah.
I think that was the one right there that kind of illustrated the end,
Yeah.
you know, and I thought it did that very well. And did it very tastefully, too. You could have done something a lot different, but you
A lot
turned
taxier.
it into a proper moment. I
Yeah.
agree.
All right.
In my opinion, I think it was not saying goodbye to Vader, but it was more or less us saying goodbye to Anakin.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah. Finally putting him to rest.
Yep.
What would you guys? All right. So, 10s for design, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what was your favorite design of the film?
Seeing the core of the Death Star, that was pretty freaking sweet.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah.
I would also say the Endor itself, but I know that's the giant redwood forest in Marin County.
Yep.
Actually, you know what I really liked is the Superstar Destroyer.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
that massive behemoth.
Yes, and when it crashes into,
The Death Star. Yeah.
yeah. That was, and then to come to find out, it was so small
Mm-hmm.
in comparison.
What about you,
Oh.
Phoenix?
Just trying to think on that actually, because that is a good one. I'd say inside the Jabba's skiff.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one too. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the Sarlacc pit.
Oh no, that's a good one too.
I'm sorry, that whole scene with the Sarlacc pit was still funny to me, especially when you're literally trying to see Han, who's barely able to see, trying to aim his gun at the tentacle that's holding on to Lando right there. He's like, and you literally hearing him say, "A little higher, just a little higher," and he's trying so hard to aim for it. And then, of course, it also leads to one of Boba's most embarrassing scenes of his entire career.
Oh yeah.
Him falling into the damn thing.
Oh, I heard in when Boba Fett came back in The Mandalorian, if you look at the back of his jump pack, you can actually see the blaster damage from when he got shot in Episode 6.
Yeah, it's, as well as, of course, when he gets hit by that stick that Han was using.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which, by God, I feel really bad for Boba to go out like that. That was a little bit embarrassing, but at the same time, he was drinking at the party, so...
So he was a little hammered.
Yeah, so yeah, of course he's gonna be a little clumsy. Hell, I usually am when I'm drunk, so...
It's not his fault. Han was blind, carbonate blind.
Then I've never drank enough to get clumsy, only lightheaded.
Yeah, there was actually one time where one of Master Chief's buddies, he kept buying me drinks for every birthday he missed, and I had like about 5 to 6 double shots of Jack Daniels.
No, you had.
You don't want to know my...
Well,
you don't
5
wanna
from
know mine.
him, one was from
No,
another.
No, not a double shot. You got a single shot from the bartender.
They called it double shots because of how big the glass
No,
was.
but you had a single shot from the bartender.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You guys really want to know
And
my
you
greatest
had
drinking story? 'Cause
three.
It's a
you
crazy
had
one. It has to
3
do with
double
sci-fi.
shots at that particular
I'll,
point.
I'll
And the
listen
reason
to
why
what
you did
you're-
not have the 4th one is because I knew I was going to have to get you upstairs. So the 4th one, you never got
Well,
a
but,
chance at.
yeah, there was another one I had when remember those 3
But
gave me a
that-
drink?
Yeah. Okay. What I'm trying. I was there. Okay. So let me explain to that. You had a single shot from the bartender. The bartender had a single shot right there. The 3 double shots, of course, came from Dave Peace. Of course.
And no worries, I was of legal age when this happened.
And what he did was he bought 3, and you already had a drink before that. Before Dave even got there, you already had another drink. I'm not trying to say that you did not have as many drinks. What I'm trying to say is that Dave bought you 3 in rapid succession, and he was going to get you.
Oh yeah,
a
that is
4th
true.
one,
He did do that.
And
rapid
I
succession.
stopped him and I says, unless you want to lug this kid up 16 flights of stairs, He goes, if
the
it
elevator
happens
doesn't work.
like that, and I says, and he goes, oh yeah, we're done, and then that's when we left because I already knew what Dad was gonna have to do.
Yeah, basically, if you want it in layman's terms, I was shit-faced. And I know how bad it is to feel that way when you're walking around. I wouldn't even want to imagine what it's like just using a jetpack.
What happened to me?
There's one part in the movie that I was just thinking about too that I really, and I was going back to the music, is you remember when Vader says, "Sister, now your failure is complete." You remember that?
Yeah.
And you remember how he comes out and he's just swinging.
Yeah, that
and
was his
going
taste
like
of the
that.
dark side.
You remember the music at that moment.
True.
That was pretty intense. I'm sorry, I just had to go back to
another favorite design moment, the Rancor.
The Rancor was actually really good.
Yeah.
I also love the reaction of all the guys who see their Rancor die. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I watched the Bad Batch, and now knowing where that Rancor came from, I feel bad for that thing. Because not only was it taken from its mother, but it was on its own. It was literally being raised by all these surprisingly kind people of Jabba's palace, taking care of that thing as best they could. So it's no wonder they had such an attachment to the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you want to hear a bizarre drinking story? It has to do with science fiction, actually.
All right.
Okay, I just turned 21. It was my mother's high school reunion. It was at a bar, of all places. I don't know why. So I had one beer. One beer turned to two. You can see where this is going.
Yes.
Yeah.
So about my 14th beer, trying to play pool, let's just say, not a good idea. I couldn't focus shooting balls for the life of me.
You were with the pool cue.
It got to the point where I had to get on the dance floor and start dancing.
Oh my goodness! Did you dance with your pool cue?
No, I was dancing to Duran Duran, Hungry Like the Wolf.
Well, if you're gonna go out and dance, Duran is a good,
Yeah,
good
true.
band to do it.
So it got to the point where they're like, "Yeah, your son doesn't have his ID. We know he's of age. Can you guys kind of go?" And this is about 10 at night. Like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, fine. So waiting for the bus, it's like the beers finally took a hold of me, and it's like the whole time I kept hallucinating. I seen David Tennant as Doctor Who, the 10th Doctor, in the TARDIS in front of me, and he kept saying, he's like, "Come with me. Let's go travel time and space."
Uh-oh.
I kept hallucinating for about half an hour.
What was the brand of beer you're drinking? Absinthe?
No, Labatt's Blue.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no!
Absinthe make you hallucinate.
So I kept thinking like, oh wow, the 10th Doctor, he wants me to travel in time and space with him. Like, Mom, can I go? And she's like, just sit down and call it relax. Like, it's like, it's like I'm looking at a tree. She knows I'm looking at a tree, but I kept thinking it was the 10th Doctor. Like, come with me. And it's like I kept seeing him hold out his hand and everything. Like, oh my god.
God bless it. That's bad.
So it's like, how's that for a science fiction drinking story?
There you go.
All right. Now we got to go on to atmosphere. And I'm guessing 10, right?
Atmosphere is a 10.
All right. So we already know it's perfect scores all around, which means no retro evolution.
Well, we can still do it if we wanted to.
True, but honestly, I don't think we should. It's a tradition we don't normally do it unless if it's less than the perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, what was your favorite atmospheric moments of episode 6?
Oh, that's good.
We'll start with Rye Guy.
I think when Luke finally meets Palpatine in his chamber on the Death Star, that was really dark and foreboding, and it was great.
You were like, there's the head honcho.
Oh yeah.
What about you? Best atmospheric moment for you for episode 6?
Really, what it comes down to would be the when he was trying to suppress his feelings. You know, trying to suppress everything, so he was not going to to know.
Yeah.
But gave up the ghost, and then he had to do something about it. Yeah.
Phoenix Fire, what about you?
Leia telling Han that Luke's her brother, and she could feel Luke escaping the Death Star before it gets destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Especially how Han was so insecure, thinking Luke and Leia were going to become a couple, but then she addresses his fear.
Well, you know, she kissed him. I mean, come on.
Yeah. For me?
That revelation, that was a shock.
For me, Vader's death.
Brother kissing sister.
For me?
Ew.
Yeah. For me,
Remember, we didn't know they were
Vader's death scene.
Oh no, that's a really good one.
That one hit me hard, especially since you saw him finally gain his redemption, only for him to kick the bucket.
Yeah.
It really made you feel like, damn, did he really have to die after he finally got his redemption?
Well, I thought that was really good. I got to save you, Luke. You already have.
Yeah. It really hit you hard. Even though you did see him finally be Anakin again, but for him to just die right there, it's like... Alright, so...
That just goes back into the the prequels, when how Padme tells Obi-Wan there's good in Anakin, and it took Luke to find that good, to bring it out in him.
True.
That's what it is, because you remember, he's more, machine now than man, twisted and evil. But he also said he goes up there and he goes about a certain point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Which was kind of a big thing, because a lot of people would just take a look at it and say that, that the dark, he goes, I told you the truth, is that the dark side basically killed your father, He's no longer Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alright, so... we have a few questions. Alright, so...
I have a question of my own, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Oh, go for it.
What's your favorite Star Wars parody?
Spaceballs.
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 There's this anime called Shin-Chan that did a really, really good parody. It was awful, but it was still good.
Actually, okay, besides Spaceballs, actually a really good parody was Family Guy's take on it, on all three.
Oh, Blue Harvest, yeah.
Blue Harvest.
Yeah.
Something Dark Side, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And It's a Trap.
Yep.
Oh,
I mean, those were good parodies. And those films were
phenomenal.
Oh, that is true, yeah. Those are pretty good. But if I'm going to say, it is still going to be Spaceballs, though.
Oh, Spaceballs.
The best thing about Spaceballs, it's a parody of everything. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Star
Pretty
Trek,
much.
Flash Gordon.
It's a parody of all things sci-fi.
But the whole thing, Dark Helmet through the whole thing.
Star Wars.
That's that. It had a Star Wars vibe through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you got one of the best things about Spaceballs too was probably the end with Planet of the Apes for sci-fi, because no one expected that.
Oh yeah.
Just when they say, oh shit, there goes the planet again.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Yeah, helped it.
All right.
First question is, if you were given an opportunity to have one unique force power that only you could use from all the list of force powers that both sides have, what would it be?
Slowing things down, because that seems like a very useful
Or slow. All right.
Power.
What about you, Phoenix?
Maybe Jedi mind for mind tricks, because how it could be used for good or bad depending on how your situation is.
Exactly.
Yep.
You?
That's what probably I would. It doesn't work on everybody, of course, but the thing is that if you need something immediate that you need to at least get something to change, that's what I would have.
Oh, I don't know. Force fire. Mainly because I could use it as a survival tool. And if I really hate someone, I could burn them on fire, set them on fire.
Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking force fire, but I thought that would be more of a dark side skill than a light side.
Well, of course, it's a dark side skill, but it can be used for survival. Like I could set a campfire if I wanted to. It could keep me warm during the times when I'm out camping or something.
Yeah.
I could cook
That's
food
true.
with it, so yeah, it's very much a useful skill overall. I'm mainly looking for stuff that could be used practically, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, next question is: if you were to choose your own type of lightsaber, what would it be? And not talking about lightsaber color, I mean lightsaber handle, basically, the hilt.
I kind of like what the Inquisitors use, that whole... That
Oh, the one with the spinning blades?
dummy blade. Yeah, I always thought that one was really cool.
What about you, Phoenix?
I'm just trying to think. I say a mixture with a black hilt and whatnot. So it's like I'm not completely a dark side user, but not a complete light side user. Something like that would be symbolizing of a gray Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Yours?
I like Dooku's.
The curved hilt?
Yes.
So you'd be more of a fencer then?
I just like the look. I mean, it probably, to me, it wouldn't function the way I like it, but if you're just going to go up there and just say by look and stuff like that, I thought out of all of the lightsabers that was out there, his was the most unique.
For me, I gotta go with the crossguard one.
Oh, you're talking
Not only with Kylo Ren, because
Kylo Ren,
the
yeah.
reason why I like his is that not only could you actually use the crossguard itself to stab people with, but you could also use it as a cauterizing tool.
Yeah.
You could actually cauterize wounds if you
I
get shot
could
or
see
something.
That. Yeah, I could see that.
And not to mention the way it's built, it actually can be useful for defense as well. Like you could actually catch someone's lightsaber blade in the corner. So I definitely have to say it's definitely something to definitely to think about. And finally, we have one last question. Now that you guys have reviewed all of the Star Wars films, which one is your absolute favorite?
4. Mine's 4.
6.
Right, guy?
4. I said 4.
5.
Did you notice, I just wanted to say, did you notice that we did it all on the original trilogy?
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's the greatest sci-fi trilogy of all time.
I still believe, personally, this is just my thing, as I still think because you always work with the characters. I think if you don't have the characters front and center, taking up the most part of the screen, getting the most screen time, I honestly believe that is what makes a really good movie. I think the problem with 1, 2, and 3 happened to be was the characters were actually shoved to the side because he really wanted to show you the immense size and the vastness of the galaxies that he was thinking about. You know what I mean? And I think that what really kind of where there was some where you lost sight. But I think 4, 5, and 6, and we got to know the characters so well because they were front and center. Everything else revolved around them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, my friends, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us. I want to thank Phoenix Fire and Rye Guy. I'm going to talk to you guys after the show. But I want to thank these guys for joining here for the final episode of RetroActive's Corner for Star Wars Month. Hard to believe that it's almost over. We only have a few more days before the month is officially over, and we have to say goodbye to.
Liking it already.
We have to say goodbye to Star Wars Month until next year.
Yeah.
That sucks. I don't care what anyone says. We could do Star Wars year.
No. I think I'd lose my mind if I kept doing that for an entire year.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any final words to say before we sign off?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. So, until then, my friends, if you guys like what we do, please follow us on all of our streaming services from Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Check us out on our other services like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you want to help support the channel, you can donate or subscribe. Ultimately, your guys' choice, but still, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we'll be doing Star Wars Pod Racer on the N64. Finally.
Oh, yes.
Then on Monday, we're doing Star Wars, I believe Star Wars,
Hold on.
shoot, why am I blanking out right now?
Hold on. I got it right here. Okay, so we got Pod Racer and then
Someone do it.
Star
Shadow
Wars
Magic
Jedi
Oh,
Fallen Order.
thank you. Jedi Fallen Order, and finally we have Galactic Battlegrounds as the last one for the month itself, and our final day is going to be on Wednesday with Star Wars X-Wing, one final time. Until then, I hope you all have an amazing day. I will see you all next time. This is Mr. RetroActive signing out. Have a great day, everybody.